flow nice. You should open your heart, I wanna see what you're so like. Low life, but I'm telling you to go to hear.
So if you have an Apple Watch that is on watchOS 9, I'll be happy to let you know that today we finally have an update 2 weeks after the release of watchOS 9.6. And here on my green Apple Watch Series 7 that you see here, if we go into our settings and go to the software update page, you can see we have watchOS 9.6.1, and this update comes in exactly at 114 megabytes, updating from watchOS 9.6. so it's a relatively small update. But one thing I do have to let you know is that if you have an Apple Watch that is already on watchOS 10 and you try to update your device, you won't see this because you are already an update above. But for those that are already on watchOS 9.6 and lower and have a supported device, this is the update that we have here. And right here on the iPhone, if we open up the Apple Watch application here, it just takes a moment to download. And once it's done and you want to see the download file size, you can actually do that by going back and going into the storage page here, and you will see watchOS 9.6.1 comes in at 288.6 megabytes. So the upload size or the file size came in slightly smaller than that, and you can see the difference in the sizes as you are downloading or as you are updating, and here as you are downloading. So let's do an update and then we'll discuss and see some of the new features and changes that this update has to offer. So right now my device has been updated to the latest watchOS publicly available version, and if we go into our settings, go to general and go to where it says about, you can see the version 9.6.1 and the build number that is here with this update is 20U80. So in case you want to know if you're on the latest or not, you can also check out your build number and that will give you a reference guide as to whether you are updated or not. Now, something I wanted to show you here is, besides the cool wallpaper that I have on my iPhone 14 Pro, is some of the other updates that were released today here. So you can see when it comes to operating systems, iOS 17 beta 6 as well as iPadOS 17 beta 6 released today. macOS unfortunately has no new beta. If you're looking for macOS, maybe tomorrow. And then watchOS 10 beta 6, I recently just did a video on this like an hour ago, and tvOS 17 beta 6. Most of these updates, including watchOS 9.6.1, I'm doing a video on it now. I cover here on the channel. So if you want to get to know your devices and keep up to date, just subscribe, and yeah, that way you get to know what's happening with these devices. Now let's look at some of the new changes that this update has to offer. There isn't really a lot, but the first one is actually major, and it's actually mentioned in the release notes of this update. And if we go here, I saved the page about the release notes of this update. You can see that this update includes a fix for issue that prevents access to motion data for apps that use the movement disorder API to track tremors and symptoms associated with Parkinson's disease. Now, this is something that's major because I believe it's a movement, the API that was added to the Apple Watch around the time in 2018. So this will be able to track all your different metrics and also how you move. And if you begin to vibrate or shake vigorously, the Apple Watch can detect that. And FDA actually approved the Apple Watch as a Parkinson tracking device, so you can have like a third-party software or app on your device that will communicate with your Apple Watch for metrics, and if it senses that something abnormal is happening, it will be able to get information from those sensors and alert you. And as you can see from the release notes of this update, that was an issue, or there was an existing issue before updating, and that has been fixed, and now the API is giving information to the correct applications or software that you might want to send it to in order to monitor that symptom or situation, which is a good thing. Another thing I wanted to show you here is the security releases for this update. So if we go to the Apple security page, it's publicly available. You can see watchOS 9.6.1, it's right here, and you can see it says this update has no CVE entries or common vulnerabilities entries. So it seems to be mainly addressed or released with the main concern of addressing that issue which prevented applications from accessing the movement disorder API in order to track tremors. So very good when it comes to health and safety. And if you are using your watch to track different health things, or you have logged different metrics or medications, that doesn't change. It will continue to give you your reminders, and it just feels the same as watchOS 9.6. Changing watch faces pretty much fast. You can see here I don't have a lot of watch faces loaded. This one is working pretty good. And yeah, I haven't had any issues with this update. If we go into the settings just to look at the battery of this update, I haven't used it much since I just updated. So if we go into where it says battery of this watch and go to this section here, you can see it was last charged 21 minutes ago and it was charged to 81%, and right now it's actually on 81, so hasn't really dropped at all. But something that I need to show you here is the battery health on my Apple Watch Series 7. So battery health right there is on 89%, and I've always used it to test the beta softwares before I got the new one, so it's actually holding up pretty well compared to some other devices that were recently released like the iPhone 14 Pro. But other than that, this is how the update has been. It's useful for those that have had issues with the movement API that wasn't really communicating, but this is how it is. I do recommend you update. Obviously there's going to be minor bug fixes and security patches in the background. Other than that, if you like this video, do leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
It don't matter what he say, don't matter what she say, don't matter what they say. Regalia AK, guns for Mayday. I'm not a law-abiding citizen. I come to paralyze the leader red. Rumors antagonize the dinner dates. Some devastation from the paper pen. I make the papa leader red. I only meditate, some kill it vanilla. Don't spill the conscience, steal the kids. Once was affected, I no longer breathe. I'm wide awake and the atmosphere is solitaire. The secret tidal wave is seated like the Navy. We don't like to try to display conversation flipping on the Bible page.